Hi there, I'm Conor Riley from ADP.
Nice to meet you, Dr. Daniel Page.
Before we get things started, I'd like to get to know a bit about the background of your business. Is this your only location?
No, we actually have a second location down in Peachtree City that employs another 15 staff members in addition to the 20 we have here at the Newman office.
I didn't know about that location. But past these two locations, is there any expansion plan?
Assuming everything stays on track, we intend on adding another 5 employees to the Peachtree City office and then constructing a brand new office in Tyrone in the next couple of years.
So you employ 35 people at the moment. But within the next couple of years, that number could increase to around 60 people, correct?
Yes. Assuming the third office is opened, we need roughly 20 workers at each location. You're correct.
Well, as I said, I'm Conor from ADP. Are you aware of what we do and who we are?
Somewhat.
Well, we are a software company that specializes in payroll solutions for startup and small businesses to eliminate a lot of the headaches and time consumption that managing your payroll system individually tends to cause.
Well, we definitely have a lot of those headaches, especially in the payroll category.
So, tell me, who does the payroll for your business?
My wife, Ellen Page, is single-handedly responsible for all the payroll-related tasks.
Would you consider this a part-time job or more of a full-time thing?
Well, initially when she started doing the payroll, when we first opened on just a part-time basis, but as we've expanded and taken on a growing number of employees, the payroll has consumed a lot of her time and have basically pushed it to a full-time occupation. We've actually considered hiring an individual strictly to manage the payroll so my wife and I can actually have some of the time that she's losing back.
Wow, that's just another expense to add to your list. Do you think that would affect your plans for expansion?
If we needed to add another individual, it would definitely put a damper on our time frame we've set for expansion. It definitely wouldn't simplify it.
I see. And I'm assuming when she first took this workload, you only have one location, so the workload wasn't anywhere near what it is now?
You're correct. We initially only had the Newman office.
Okay. If you don't mind me asking, do you guys have any kids?
Yes, we have 2 children, both under the age of 10.
Oh, congratulations. But that's another issue. The time your wife could be spending with your children is being used to keep the payroll in your business in line. Do you mind me asking which software your wife is currently using?
Not at all. The software is called Microsoft Dynamics.
I'm familiar with that software. Do you know how costly the product was initially and what it is to upkeep?
Initially, I'm not certain what we paid for the product, but every year since, we've had to spend $1,500 to upgrade the software to remain current.
Wow, it's a lot for a small business owner. Every little bit counts. You're not a big corporation, you know. Now tell me, is this software easy to learn? Did you have to enter the information manually, or is it processed automatically?
The software is easy to get a hang of. It doesn't do a lot of things that we would like it to be able to do. And the worst part about it is the amount of time it takes to do such simple tasks because of the typing everything manually in.
So, you mentioned the amount of time it takes. Roughly how much time does Ellen take each pay period to do payroll?
Well, she told me that it takes her roughly 3 minutes to total each time card, and then another hour to key in the payroll to the system. After that, the process of cutting and stuffing checks takes another 2 hours for all the employees.
Wow, that's a lot of work for one woman. So, all in all, it takes her over 5 hours to do payroll every other week.
Yeah, I'm not sure of the exact number, but that's definitely in the ballpark.
Well, multiply that number by 26, and it's definitely one big chunk of number. Now that number, 5 hours, that's assuming everything goes perfectly. Does your wife ever have any problems while she's carrying out these processes?
Yes, unfortunately, every pay period, there's roughly 4 to 5 problems with that checks that require us to void them out and then recalculate the proper amount or correct the error we've made.
Have any of your employees ever complained about this? That could definitely affect employee morale if they feel like they're not being compensated correctly.
There have been complaints, but we always correct the checks and get them what they have earned. We just don't want the employees to have concern over whether their checks are correct or not, and with our current system, we obviously can't do that.
I understand. Now, I'm assuming you have to deal with the payroll anymore. How would you reallocate all the time you guys now have?
Well, I'd like to think that my wife would take advantage of all the free time and spend it with our kids, but at the same time focusing on growing in our business and as a whole and not just dealing with the payroll process.
I see. So back to the software. How does it handle paid time off?
That's an easy question, doesn't it all?
If that's the case, how do you handle the paid time off?
Well, we use a Microsoft program, Microsoft Excel, and we'll go in and sum all the numbers of hours each employee has in paid time off on their seniority with the company.
And when are employees able to view that?
Every other month, we go in and update everyone's PTO balance and then send out a report once the numbers have been summed up.
Every other month. It's not very frequent. I can imagine you have a lot of employees calling in to see how much paid time they have more frequently than every 2 months.
Yeah, because it takes so much time to keep it updated. We don't do it as often as we'd like. So when someone calls, we're forced to make the calculations on the fly.
I imagine there's some errors by a method like that. You ever mess up a calculation or two by a few hours there?
On occasion, yes, but the main problem is employees using their PTO before they've actually earned it. And then something happens like they're terminated or they leave the business, we end up eating the money that we've already paid for them in paid time off, which they haven't earned yet.
I can imagine that adds up as well. More money that goes down the drain and not in your pocket. Now, with your current software, are you able to generate all the reports you'd like to be able to?
Not necessarily. All the reports we generate are very simple and do a lot of extra calculations and work and are needed if we want reports that are actually useful to us.
I see. Now let me address the issue of taxes. Does Ellen handle the tax deposits, W-2s, and quarterly filings? And has she ever had any problems doing so?
Yes, Ellen handles all the tax responsibilities, and we have been penalized one time 4 years ago for late reporting and were forced to pay a fine.
Okay, Dr. Page. Now, from what I've gathered, I understand majority of the problem you are facing is time consumption, but at the same time, you are enduring a lack of simplicity in your current system, a loss of money due to errors from the system, cutting and stuffing checks, and a great deal of stress on your wife for the increased amount of responsibility she's taking on. Would you be interested if I told you I had a system that could alleviate all of these problems?
Of course, as we expand, the work is just going to increase more and more.
Well, firstly, I would like to address the issue of payroll. I understand that Ellen is taking a great deal of her time calculating time cards, keying in the data, and then cutting stuffing checks. With ADP, which is an online-based system, it allows your payroll to be automatically calculated anytime, anywhere. The payroll cards can be sent directly to our people at ADP, and your payroll will be automatically calculated and viewed at any time, taking a lot of the responsibility off your wife's hands. Does this sound good to you?
Yes, that sounds great. I know she'd love all the extra time.
Now, remember that earlier you mentioned something about expansion. With our software, we eliminate all the sifting through resumes. We do pre-screening and background checks for you based on specialized hiring criteria that you create so that only the employees that best fit your criteria are available to you. Does that sound beneficial?
Absolutely.
Okay, now let me get into the tax services of ADP. With our tax services, it does automatically calculate each tax for you. We know all the federal, state, and jurisdictions on the regulations, which you and I know have been proven hard to keep up with. Also, instead of paying one large sum at tax time, we allocate the costs over the year so you're not hit real hard with a big amount to come up with in a short amount of time.
All this sounds great, but can I address a few of my concerns?
Of course, Doctor. Go right ahead.
A number of my colleagues who run their individual practices have mentioned that the customer service at ADP isn't the greatest. How do I know if I will receive good service and won't be treated as just another account?
Well, Dr. Page, within the last 5 years, we have fixed out a great deal of the kinks and problems with our customer service structure. So since, our customer retention rate has jumped to over 90%, and we now ensure that the client is the most important priority to us. If need be, I could arrange a meeting with the current client for them to explain what they think of our current customer service performance.
I may just take you up on that. Additionally, I'm hesitant because you mentioned that the entire system is automated. My wife, Ellen, is not the most technologically savvy person out there. I feel as if she would be a bit nervous and against the change because it would be a lot newer to her.
Great news is that ADP offers an entire implementation team. So basically, when you sign up for the system, we have an entire team that comes in and walks you through the ins and the outs of the entire system. We also offer various demos of the software that after the initial walkthrough with our team, if your wife is still shaking anything, it should teach her exactly what she needs to be known.
That sounds very nice, but lastly, there is a issue of cost. How much would a product like this cost me?
I don't have the exact quote on me at this time, but I can assure you based on the numbers that you've run by me today, software will cut your costs virtually in half. Additionally, ADP has been shown to free up to 60% of workers' time, which can then be reallocated to other business-related tasks, which can then increase your profit rather than calculating payroll and other miscellaneous tasks.
I would look forward to getting the exact quote on your software sometime.
Well, I understand you're a very busy man, so I'll let you go at this time. But how would a second meeting sound in the near future to discuss more specifics of ADP?
That sounds great. I will have you meet with my secretary and arrange a meeting sometime next week.
Great, I'll do just that. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir.